All right, let's move over to some sell high guys. We've got a couple of guards here that I want to talk about. First up, I want to throw out Dejounte Murray of the San Antonio Spurs. So, big reason why Dejounte Murray has been playing really well recently is that the Spurs have had a lot of players out. They've had a lot of COVID positive tests, and Murray has been taking full advantage, going absolutely bananas in the last few games. He is still a good player. I definitely don't think that he's a bad player, but in the last sort of couple of weeks, he has been going absolutely crazy, and he's the 11th ranked player in the last 2 weeks. Putting up 27 and 7 with 2 steals, great percentages, low turnovers. I just don't think that this volume is going to keep up, especially when players like Derek White come back into the mix. Other sort of backcourt players sort of fill up. LaMarcus Aldridge is still working his way back into shape. So I just don't think that offense is going to be there, but he's been absolutely crazy these last few games.
Yeah, you said 11th in the past 2 weeks. That's crazy.
It's off 4 games, so they've missed a fair few before that. So it is only off 4 games, so smaller sample size. But hey, you can catch people with that. That's what these sell high guys are all about.
That's it. Like 27 and 7. That's huge. And good
huge.
Field goal as well. 2 steals. He was on my definitely on my kind of guys to look out for in the draft. I did want to pick him up in those mid rounds. Unfortunately, I didn't quite get him, but he was always going to be elite in steals, and he is proving that this season. And the assists and the rebounds definitely help for a guard position, and it's great that he's now putting up points.
Yeah, it's definitely been his breakout year, but he's just not going to be this good. He's going to be more of a top 50 or top 40 player rather than a top 15 or 20 player. So if you can get someone who's a top 25 value, I would definitely do that. Who's your first sell high guy, Cal?
My first sell high guy who's been absolutely killing it recently in Russell Westbrook.
Okay.
I know we kind of had a buy low.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the second guy.
2 weeks ago.
The second guy to feature on both lists. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. So he's turned it around. He hasn't missed a game for a while, which is kind of why I've put him on the list, because there was always a bit of talk that he was going to rest a few games. And I think that probably is to come. We'll see how it does end up, because there's obviously the All-Star weekend. Maybe he will be fine, but I don't know. With the standings as well, it could be an interesting race towards the end. And if an injury does happen to, say, a Brad Beal, I'm not too sure what Russell Westbrook could do to really elevate them to the playoffs. So the reason I mentioned that is he could be a little bit worrying maybe towards the end of the season in terms of his minutes. That's my concern for him. And right now he's balling. His value is back up. If there's a time to sell him, if you were so pissed off with him at the start of the season and you're like, I want to get rid of him, now would be the time.
Yeah, I agree. I like this pick. I like it a lot, because the concerns that were there when he was being shit are still there. Like his injury history is not going away. He did play a back-to-back recently. However, I'm not sure if that's going to be the norm. I remember hearing some comments from the coach saying that it was a bit of a blowout win. He played, I think it was the 32 minutes a night on sort of, I think it's Feb 28 our time. So Feb 27th over in the States. And then he played the next game after that against Boston. So if you can spin the narrative that, hey, look, he's playing back-to-backs now, even though I don't think he will, some owners might sort of fall for it. Obviously, there's still the same risk. His free throw percentage is shocking. His turnovers are the highest in the league. So those things are still there. He doesn't hit you any threes. He doesn't get you any blocks. And it's funny that we've got a sell high here guy who's in the last 2 weeks, the 169th ranked player. So I do think he is a good sell high, though, because obviously rankings weigh in those two things, percentages and turnovers, very highly. But I think if you do want to remove him, now is a really good time. So I would be looking to get some value there. But if you don't care about percentages and turnovers, you shouldn't have cared all season, and he's still going to be a decent player for you. So, but if you did care and you mistakenly drafted Russell Westbrook, now's a chance. All right, let's move on. I've got another one. It is Kendrick Nunn. A few guards on our sell high list here, but obviously Kendrick Nunn, he's been balling with Dragic out recently. He's someone in the past that traditionally, when Dragic has played, he's actually not played at all and picked up a couple of DNP CDs. But in the last couple of weeks, his ranking is still high. Dragic has come back, but they've had Tyler Hero out. So maybe you can sell the narrative to someone that, hey, Dragic is back and he's still playing high minutes. He's still going to be good, and maybe sort of salvage some value because he could very quickly turn into a droppable player when the Heat are healthy. So what are your thoughts on Kendrick Nunn?
He's been playing really well recently. So you'd like to think that he can maintain it. The thing about the regular season is I think Dragic will rest a fair few games just because they need him for the playoffs. He's so crucial for that team. So from the regular season point of view, I think he probably should maintain a similar level to what he has now. But yeah, like his value is sky high right now. So now's the time to make a move.
He's the 35th ranked player over the last couple of weeks. So if you can get anyone in the top 50 or 60 players, I would be pulling that trigger immediately. That might be hard to do. Even top 75, I'd be doing it because I don't think he's going to be playing as well. He's averaging 16, 3.5 rebounds, 4 assists, steal and a half, shooting good percentages, hasn't missed a free throw in that time, 3 threes a game and only 1 turnover. So I just don't think that that's something that is sustainable with all these players getting healthy again. So I think he's a massive sell high. Let's move over to your last sell high, mate.
All right. So my last sell high is it's an interesting one. I'll say that it's a bit of a maybe if you have this man, he's another guard in Kyle Lowry.
Okay.
And if you have him, maybe you could be a bit nervous that he's on the trade block. We did make a podcast about potential trades and trade rumors previously. So if you haven't checked that out, go check it out. Give it a like. But this man, it's one of those guys who, if he gets traded to a contender, which I do think could be likely. Right now, it's not like no one's talking about it a whole lot. So if you want to trade him, if you are concerned he's going to get traded, now would be the time. Because if he gets traded to a contender, you probably find his value is going to go down. I mean, he averaged today he put up a triple double. He put 24 points before that. I feel like his shots will go down if he goes to say a team like any team that needs a point guard with I don't know, like if he went to the Clippers, for example, or even if he went to the 76ers, there's been some rumors about. I feel like his value will drop, especially in assists if he went to the 76ers. So it's something to keep in mind. I think if he is traded, obviously in the real world, then now would be the time to trade him in fantasy.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Obviously, if you look at his last couple of weeks, he's the 3rd ranked player. That's obviously not going to be sustainable, but that's only on 2 games because they've missed a few games on due to COVID. He's back now, and a lot of the other players are also out still. So I think he's going to be the main focal point for the next couple of games. How many of the games have they got? They've got 2 games before the All-Star break are back-to-back. So he's going to put up some big points and big stats in the next 2 games, which will extend that sell-high window. You say you're worried about trades. I'm also worried about injuries. This guy has been injured at the end of the season for the last, 3 or 4 seasons. So he always seems to come out, smash it early on the season, and then just completely drop off, A, or B, get injured. So I think he is someone just getting older. I think you've walked the tightrope with Kyle Lowry in your roster for long enough. I think you can cash in and get someone who's similar value who doesn't quite have that injury or trade risk. I think you're sort of winning. So you could trade someone for around his sort of value, which on the season is, as my computer loads here, is still quite high, but something that I would definitely consider. He's a 38th player ranked in the season. So if you can get a top 40 player for Kyle Lowry, I would definitely pull that trigger. I want to throw one more sneaky surprise one, a bonus sell high. This is someone I'm not actually sure is a sell high, but I want to open up a discussion because I initially put him down, but then I thought, you know what, maybe he's just going to keep doing this for the season. And that guy is Lamelo Ball. What are your thoughts on Lamelo Ball for the rest of the season? He currently, if I just bring it up real quick here, he's been absolutely balling since he's moved to the starting lineup. He's someone who is on my fantasy roster and someone who I don't know if I would consider trading him for something around the same value. He's 48th on the season, and the last 2 weeks since being in the starting lineup, he's 23rd in the league in terms of ranking. So do you think that Lamelo Ball is a sell high cap?
Look at 23rd ranked. We know who wore number 23. So the man who owns the Hornets, maybe it's no coincidence.
There you go. Hey, Illuminati.
He's been killing it, man. Like He's been having 2 steals a game as well, which has really boosted him up there, which is another huge reason. And the half a block a game for a guard is useful. 20 points. You didn't really expect him to have the points, especially on that field goal. The 48% field goal. It really looks, when you look at it in the scheme of things over the past 2 weeks since he's been in the starting lineup, it really does look like it's too good to be true. If I'm honest, you'd have to say something that comes down. There's no way, it's weird. When I watch him, he looks so good that I feel like there's no reason he can't. He does kind of do the eye test, but when I look at the raw numbers, it's hard to believe it's going to be maintained.
He's really special, man. He's done way better than I thought he would. I obviously drafted him. I drafted him close to pick 100. Did not expect this sort of return this early. I thought maybe after the All-Star break, he would start to play a bit better, which has got me thinking, this is this first half of his first NBA season. So, he's going to get a bit of rest of the All-Star break. He's going to get fresh legs again. And often we see these rookies start to play better in the second half. So, look, I would have to agree that the field goal percentage in the last 2 weeks, 48%. I don't think he's going to keep that up. He might be closer to 45%. And maybe the steals drop off, a little bit. But the rest of it, maybe 20 points, maybe he's closer to 18. So those things will all affect his ranking. But in terms of, 5 rebounds, he can do that easily. 7.5 assists, easy. 2.5 threes, done. I think he can get that half a block a game. His free throw percentage has been solid all year. He's still going to get high steals. I think he's good at sort of reading the plays and things like that. So I think he is going to be a top 40 player for the rest of the way. Maybe not the 23rd ranked player, but I wouldn't be in a rush to sell him unless you can get a bona fide stud, like a top 2 round sort of player in return because of name value and hype, and just based on his current ranking in the last 2 weeks. So I thought that was just an interesting one. Obviously we all love watching a bit of Lamelo Ball. So
he's my favorite guy to watch right now. And those Hornets they're so good to watch.
I saw a stat that he's actually leading the rookies in every single statistical category except for blocks, who Wiseman has him just by a little bit. So pretty crazy.
And turnovers as well.
Yeah, he's winning in turnovers too. He's got the most turnovers. So
there we go.
He's got them all in the major statistical categories. But just a beast right now, and much better than I thought he was going to be in his first year.
Oh, he's definitely surprised me. I was a hater at the draft, so I'm eating those words. But he's, as I said, one of my favorite guys to watch.
And a lock for the rookie of the year. So I think that's not really a question anymore at this point. All right, we are going to call it there, guys. If you're watching along on YouTube, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Chuck a like onto the video. Let us know in the comments who is doing well for your fantasy team. Let us know your draft regrets like mine and Justin Jackson Jr. If you have any buy low targets that you think are worthwhile or any questions about your fantasy roster, we'd like to get through to all those questions. So let us know in the comments, and we will catch you guys next week. Enjoy the All-Star break. See ya.